Well, hey.
Hey,
Hey,
thank you
Tim.
everybody for tuning in to If These Walls Could Talk with
Oh
your
my
host.
gosh.
I guess that way.
How are you today,
Okay, I
Tim?
was saying with your host, give your name.
Oh, it's me, Wendy, but I'm discombobulated because Tim, I'm usually where you are, and
Uh-huh.
you're usually where I
Oh,
am.
I see. We're backwards. Yeah.
So we're yeah,
I'm
we're,
Tim,
we're
and I'm Tim Moss, by the way. Hi.
right. I'm not Tim Moss, even though Tim Moss is in my spot. I'm with Wendy Stuart, but I'll have to just cope with it because that's how things are, right? You just got to roll with it.
Absolutely. You just roll with life. Roll
You
with life.
just roll
Yeah.
with life. How are you doing today,
I'm
Tim?
good. How are you? How you been?
Oh, I'm just great. Yeah, as you know, I just finished a film called My Brother's Last Advice, which
Uh-huh.
a dream crew, dream performers. I'll have more information about. It'll be released this summer,
Good.
which is
Fun.
great. And as everyone knows, we broadcast right here from PANGEA. We had an amazing rap party here
Fun.
for Kobe Cole. Did a wonderful song
Yes.
called Streets, and the new film, oh God, what is it? Things always go out of my head, called Stars.
Uh-huh.
So we had the rap party here. I got to tell you, the performers were great. And it was just it was like a Lower East Side LA vibe, which
Nice.
I love that.
Yeah.
I want to move somewhere that's like Lower East Side in LA, where I don't even think it's Oz, ladies and gentlemen. I'd be moving to Oz, but you can get Kobe Cole's wonderful new song Streets on all the major platforms, which include iTunes, Apple, and Amazon. So just amazing. He's having tremendous success with it. And
Great song. I love that song.
it's a great song, and we love seeing, the people that we work with. We love their success. We live for their success.
Yes.
Oh, and Jesse Luttrell, right? We're all going to the
Well,
Triad.
I was just going to say last week, I co-hosted with Ike on Loose Lips, and our guest was Jesse Luttrell. And he is such an incredible person and such an incredible performer. But yes, we talked about his show that's coming up this Saturday. Yay.
At the Triad Theater. If you're in New York City, it's at 9:30 at night. We have taken over the whole front part of the Triad with the biggest VIP table. You never saw so many very important people in your entire life. So please come and join us.
Oh yeah, that'll be a fun time. Then we did another taping of Comedy Sex Show, which is
I saw.
we had a ball. I just love those two women. They're just
that's Tara. I love her name. That's Tara Tiara.
Tara Tiara, who was a retired New York City escort, and Lola Bastonado, who is a sex expert she has a show on Playboy TV and Playboy Radio, and then me as a gay entertainer, a gay singer in New York. And we just drop a subject on the table and go at it from all sides, unfiltered. We just cut loose, and yeah, it's very fun, but very adult
and no boundaries. Now, do you take call-ins? I know on Loose Lips you'll take questions ahead of time. Do you take call-in questions on the sex show?
People can send in questions or videos, and yeah,
videos. So, what kind of Tim? What kind?
I can't say on here. They're not X-rated, but it's just I can't. I don't want to get too graphic on here.
Okay, no, I understand. I see where you go. Well, that's a good thing to know.
Remind me after this show, and I'll tell you what videos, what kind of videos.
I don't want you to just tell me. I want to see.
But then on Saturday, our good friend, you know Susan from Delaware.
Yes,
Susan and
with her
Aiden,
wonderful son Aiden.
Yeah, they were in town, and I happened to be free, so I popped downtown. We had a wonderful time together.
Oh, how totally cool. Yeah. And Aiden is a performer at 50. He's 15, right? How old is Aiden?
Yes, yeah, he's 15.
He's 15, and he's been coming in to do showcases here in New York. Yes, we do run the gamut. We got him all the way from 15 to 95. If you got talent, we want to promote it.
Absolutely.
There you go.
So thank you, everyone, for tuning in to If These Walls Could Talk with your hosts, Wendy Stuart and Tym Moss. And we will be right back with our amazing and incredible guest, Tamilee Webb.
So I'm very excited about today's guest simply because I have followed her. She is a fitness guru. She is a fitness expert. She just has such a joy about her, charisma. If you're feeling bad about your body, you just get one of her tapes. I remember listening to her tapes.
Yeah, for videotapes.
You can now subscribe and get a program from her. But I think the thing that I love most about her, she's described by her clients as a gift. How many people can you say that about? We are delighted to welcome Tamilee Webb.
Yay!
Hey,
Hi guys. Oh my gosh, my heart is full. Just thank you so much for that warm welcome.
yeah.
How is New York? I'm
It's-
out in California.
Well, you're in California. It's chilly here by
Is it?
California standards.
How is New York? It ain't California. However, no,
Yeah.
you know what? I love New York. I could be in California if I were working. I work here. I could never go out there like and pound pavement or get in my car and drive. But
Yeah,
you
it's a lot
guys
of
really
driving
have
around.
us beat with the weather. And other than when you have wildfires and
Yeah.
things like that, it's you have a beautiful lifestyle there. What can I tell you?
Yes, it is nice, but it's so nice to finally meet you guys. I'm
nice to meet
I'm
you.
so honored to be on your show. So thank you for having me.
Well, I'm very excited that you're here.
Absolutely.
Being in the performing industry, and Tim too, I've followed, of course, fitness people for years. You are probably the most well-known. I remember when Buns of Steel came out, and everything about you, how you worked with your clients, and whenever I would see you in your videos, you inspire people. You make them think they can do better. You make them understand that they really can change their body. And that, Tamilee, is probably the most incredibly positive thing anyone can do for somebody. So thank you for everything you do. I want to really start off by saying
I
that.
love helping people and to get them to understand that they have it within them to make themselves better. And I think the difference between then and now is then I would look at a camera, we had a camera in front of us, right? I would just imagine who I'm talking to. So I wouldn't see your guys' beautiful faces, but I could imagine who was there and who really needed me and how would they want me to talk to them and talk to them with respect, to inspire them to say, yes, I can do this. So where today, I don't know about you guys, but to put a phone in front of myself and then I'm just looking at me. I'm like, wait a minute. I don't want to talk to me. I want to talk to you. I want to talk to the person that is needing or wanting my expertise. So very different today.
It's I love that you brought that up because yes, it's a totally different thing. Listen to this. In the days of the camera, looking into the camera, and I remember some of my first acting teacher advice. Imagine you're talking to a person.
Yeah.
And certainly for what you do, that's what you were doing. But how amazing now, because we're all on Zoom, that now you're seeing the person and you can connect with them on that level. And that,
yes,
you know what, that is a big, I never read Tammy. You just made me have an epiphany right here that it is really different. We can connect that way. That is cool.
Yes. Yeah, there is a great means to what we're doing now because we can really connect with someone instead of just going, okay, is anybody getting this? So it wouldn't be until I saw someone, they're like, oh my God, I have your videos and you just talk to me like I'm right there you're right there in my living room. Like, I just want to sit down and you'd say, you better not be sitting down. It's like, what? How did you know that? And now we can do that. So when I'm doing Zoom workouts with clients, I mean, I can see them. It's like, time to get up. Let's do this. Yeah. It's really
it really is a different world. It's a different world now. Because again, you I think are probably best known for Buns of Steel and Abs of Steel.
Yes. Yeah, it was the original series was the classics. I was first brought on. The thing is, what people don't know or understand what Buns of Steel is that I became the brand. So the guy that actually came up with it, his name is Greg Smithy. And the story is that he had clubs in Alaska. And one day, one of his members said, "You got Buns of Steel." And he thought, great name.
It's great.
I think I should videotape, which was brilliant. So he videotaped himself and he looked like a young Chuck Norris, and he had on headband and he was doing the donkey kicks and the leg lifts and all, all the old stuff. And meanwhile, he takes the video, he gives it to the guy that had produced it and said, look, I got to leave the country. I guess he wasn't paying employee taxes. Shh, don't say anything. And then so he gave it to the producer and said, look, if you can get this out there, I'll, share the revenues, whatever. So back in this time, this is the late 80s, I believe so. Late 80s. And do you remember the only way we got VHSs was a catalog? Remember, there was a catalog sent to your house and you could look through the specials videos, the scary videos, whatever. And so in the special interest categories was this guy on the front that looked like Chuck Norris, and it said Buns of Steel. And so they noticed that they were getting a lot of orders from San Francisco area.
I am so shocked. I cannot even imagine.
That's great.
With that, right? So they decided, okay, we need to market this because that doesn't right, Tim? I mean,
I never thought of that being.
They were onto something. Right? That was their test market.
I never thought of that as being a possible gay porn movie title.
Right. It's a guy on it, says Buns of Steel. So anyway, the company at the time was the Mayer Group, and they said, all right, let's repackage it. So they got a female bodybuilder and they shot her like from about here down from the side to show her backside. Yeah. So they repackaged it and it started selling other than just in San Francisco. And they're like, okay, we're on to something. So then they decided, let's do another video, but we don't want to use Grace Smithy, we want a woman. And about that time was when step aerobics was coming out.
Oh
so the producer at the time said, all right, we'll do a step one. Well, long story short, it didn't go over very well. So they said, no, we want a woman that has a backside, that knows what she's doing, that's marketable, and no step. And so I was signed at the time with a company called Spry Products, which is still in business today, and their equipment, like different rubber bands and
those flex bands.
Yeah. So he was friends with the producer, and he said, you need Tamilee Webb. And she's got the backside, she's got the education, and so they called me in, and I was only supposed to do one. Buns of Steel 3. Buns of Steel 3. And I went in it knowing that, okay, look, I know that I want my name attached to it. I want my body on it. And there was no like, okay, I'm signed with them forever. But I knew if I did a good job, they got to come back to me, right?
Right.
So I did the first one. It hit the billboards. And so they came back and said, we want you to do abs of steel and arms and abs of steel. So they came back. Well, each time that they came back to me, I raised the ante.
Exactly.
Like,
you were in the position. Yeah.
Right. And like, okay, raise it up a little bit, raise it up. So we went on with like 9 of those with the classics. At one time, you guys, all 9 were on the Billboard. Do you remember the Billboard magazine that you would get? And
of course.
All the top 10.
The top music, the top videos.
Yeah. I actually remember the time that you're talking about with this. And you know what? You did burst my bubble a little bit. This is going to blow you away. I did think that guy was Chuck Norris.
He looked like a young Chuck Norris.
He was. Come on. They knew that when they found him. They had to have known that.
Absolutely. Now, thank you, everyone, for tuning in to If These Walls Could Talk with your host, Wendy Stuart and Tym Moss, and our wonderful and special guest, Tamilee Webb. So,
wasn't Chuck Norris? Oh my gosh.
Well, now this was kind of on wasn't this on kind of on the heels of Jane Fonda? videos,
Yes.
and Olivia Newton-John, Let's Get Physical.
Physical,
Yes.
all the ones that
All of the actresses started coming out and doing, and
Right.
what they would do is they'd actually hire fitness people to choreograph it. And
Of
see,
course.
I came from that industry. So I
Okay.
wasn't an actress. I'm not, I'm a nobody, but I came from the fitness industry. I have a master's degree in exercise science. I love helping people. My side little hustle, which I thought I would be doing, was becoming, Shania Twain. I sang country music. So for me, entertainment, since you guys are both entertainers, is I had a little bit of that side in me.
Of
Because
course.
when you do a video, it is a little bit of that. You have to
Right.
keep your audience engaged. And even though my engagement was through exercise, but somebody said, how can you talk so much and move at the same time?
Walking and chewing gum, really.
But it was very fascinating. So what I noticed is, and this is how, when we were talking, Wendy, about marketing, is I knew that there was nobody in my court. I was hired, so I was like the talent, right? But I'm making up all the workouts. And making sure my name is attached to it. So on the billboard at one time, I had like, I don't know, I think there was 8 of them up there. None of them had my name attached.
Oh my God.
I called the magazine. I called the billboard.
Good for
Said,
you.
excuse me, you need to put my name attached to that. Because
Absolutely.
that's what you have to do.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I did that. And then the mayor group said, you know what, we're going to do a whole new series. It's called Platinum 2000. You get to invite 2 of your favorite other fitness pros, and we're going to add aerobics to it. So it'll be a complete workout instead of just the body parts, right? Because there was thighs are still, abs are still, arms are still. I was running parts, right? So I had just gotten done doing ESPN Fitness Pros with 5 other of my colleagues. And so I asked 2 of the girls that were on there with me to do it because, one, I respected them in their ability with fitness. And we had just gotten off this long production working together. So it was already a working relationship.
Right.
So Donna Richardson and Tracy York came on, and we did the Platinum series, and they did it with an infomercial. And that was the first infomercial for fitness. Even Jane didn't do it.
So brilliant.
Right?
Yeah.
Who put that structure together to use the infomercial?
Okay, so it all evolves around the mayor group, who is the group, the company that is producing and marketing and doing it all. But we all come together, and it's like, everybody puts in their 2 cents. Okay, now we're doing this. How are we going to market it? Because remember, back in those days, we were marketing through, remember Parade magazine?
Oh my God. Parade. Yes.
Parade magazine. I was in Parade magazine so many times, but it was great. It was a way to market it. The first time I ever was put on QVC, they go, okay, this is back in the day. I don't know if you guys have been to QVC back in the days.
I did. I'm a home shopping, not for them, for another. I did for Spiegel. It was called Viewpoints from Spiegel.
Oh,
I hosted it. And what people don't know about home shopping hosts, that when you sign those contracts, they can put you on at 2 a.m. And I remember this producer coming over to me and saying, you need to have more energy. And I'm like, you gave me a dead guest. My guest was dead. It's hard.
The host and the guest, it has to mesh. But it was when it was on a carousel. It would go around like it was a slice. Okay, the next scene, and it would just rotate, and then whatever else they were selling. So when it went on, the host says, we have 2,000 in the queue. 2,000 meaning there's 2,000 products. All right, and if it's not selling, we're getting you off. If it sells quickly, then of course we're done.
Wow.
So we got started, and I'm on a roll. I'm just like, and she goes, oh, well, sorry, we already sold out. And I'm like, what? It was like 5 minutes.
Good for you, though. They love that.
Away. Yeah, it just blew out. So of course, then they reorder and they do the stuff.
Right.
Do you want to hear some other little gossip?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Okay. So this is with Jane. Jane Fonda.
Jane Fonda.
So back at this time, my very first video was with Dr. Art Uline. Do you remember Dr. Art Uline?
Tell us, can you tell us who that was?
So Dr. Art Uline was the NBC correspondent doctor back in the days. He looked like Groucho Marx.
Okay, like Sanjay Gupta is today.
Yes.
Same
Yes.
deal. Got it.
So
Okay.
he was the NBC doctor. And anyway, I had done a video for him, which was called Balance Fitness. And it was through ACOG, American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists. And it was after women had their babies, they would get back in shape. Okay, so that was kind of like my first video. Well, at this time, in our industry, in the fitness industry, one of our biggest organizations that brings us all together at that time was called IDEA, which is International Dance Exercise Association. Okay. And so they were giving, so they brought us all together. It was in San Diego. They brought us all together and they gave out like lifetime achievement. They gave out best exercise video. They did best exercise studio, different awards, right? Well, Jane was there. And of course, they're going to give Jane lifetime achievement, right?
Absolutely.
Well, she was furious because I got best exercise video.
Oh my God. Good for you, Tamilee. Yes.
Okay, but this is how political it is. After that, IDEA never, ever, even to this day, has given an award. I got the first and the last.
Oh my God.
Well, you can only imagine the flack that happened from that, you know?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. I had no idea
Yeah.
until after the fact, but I'm like, okay, there are no more. Why aren't they giving best exercise videos?
Wow.
Well, thank you everyone for tuning in to Ify's Wall Street Talk with your hosts, Wendy Stuart and Tym Moss, and our fabulous and wonderful guest all the way from Los Angeles, Tamilee Webb. Now, are you originally from, well, you're in the LA area. I'm in
San Diego.
Oh, in San Diego. Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking, okay. Oh, I haven't
on the West Coast.
Did you grow up on the West Coast?
I grew up on the West Coast in Northern California, in a little farm town called Rio Dale. We called it Real Doll as kids. And so I grew up, having horses and cows and pigs and chickens. And then from there, I went to school at Chico State, which is in Northern California still. Right. It's just above Sacramento. And I finished my master's degree in exercise science there and decided I'm moving to San Diego. I love San Diego. So I drove down here with my little dog and little stuff that I owned. And this is where I made my home, was San Diego.
It's interesting. So you studied, of course, you have that whole background, but I'm dying to know, were you, as a kid, were you a super athlete? Were you a gymnast? Were you one of those gymnast kids?
I was not a gymnast. My dad was a semi-pro baseball player. So I grew up with baseball, and I have 2.5 brothers. So I have a half brother from my dad's first marriage. And so every summer he would come to live with us, and I have 3 brothers. Now I'm the oldest of my 2 little brothers, but no one wanted to play dolls. No one. I had learned all my entire life pebbles, and that was it. And so I had to be athletic. I had to be. And then, I had horses, and then I got into motorcycles. I used to do motocross racing.
Oh, wow.
Oh, hold on. That's like, I got to stop you because I want to hear more about that. I have another friend that did that. How did you get into that?
I just loved motorcycles, and I bought myself one once and started racing. And of course, back in those days, they didn't have women's racing and men. I had to race men.
Wow.
Yeah, which was really hard, but I enjoyed it until one time it was the helmets didn't have protection, and I hit a rock and busted my mouth and my tooth, and my family's like, okay, if you really want to stay looking like a girl, I'm gonna continue this. So and I picked up a guitar when I was in 4th grade, a plastic guitar that I had saved my money for. And my dad he realized I was serious, so he bought me a real guitar for my birthday. And I played country music. I was raised on country music, and I really thought that I would In fact, the night before my orals, I was out at a country western bar with my girlfriends, and I said, well, I can't drink because I have orals tomorrow. And they're like, yeah, you're driving, we're drinking. So we went to this little country western bar, and the band says, if somebody will get up and sing, we'll give you drinks the rest of the night. And so they're like, get up there, get up there. So I get up and I sing Coal Miner's Daughter.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
and of course they got free drinks. And this gentleman comes over and he says, hey, he goes, I'm an agent for Tiger Bell, and we sing warm up to all the big names in Vegas.
Wait.
And we're looking for a female vocalist. Would you be interested?
Amazing story.
And I'm thinking, okay, wait a minute. I'm getting ready to do my orals. Do I give all this up, go to Vegas and sing, right? Well, I chose not to do it. I come to San Diego, and kid you not, you guys, 10 years later, I'm in Las Vegas at a fitness convention, and they wanted us presenters to do a talent show. So my talent was, of course, singing, right? And so a week later, I get a letter, and he goes, I'm an agent out of Nashville, and my wife drugged me to this thing, and I saw you, and I want to know if we could meet. And I'm thinking, isn't that weird? I'm in Vegas. I was supposed to go to Vegas if I went with this little Tiger Bell band,
Right.
and then somebody else. But by then, you guys, I was already into the fitness and buns of steel. And it's like,
Yeah.
you really give that up for smoke-filled bars, and it's not a healthy life. It's not. So, and it's not that I'm a great singer. It's not. I'm so average, but it's, I think, too, about how you present it. It's your performance.
Right.
Yeah.
You're also, what I call a package. All right. You come off a certain, like, everything's categories, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And with you, Tamilee, you can check off all of these great boxes. So a smart agent would come along. You don't have to be the best singer. You just have to be right enough.
Yeah.
And
we have lots of those, right?
Right.
Well, I consider you to be a great communicator.
Yes. Thank you, Tim.
Like where you can get in and make people feel. You communicate to your audience. You communicate to people.
Right.
And
Yeah.
connect
I like
with
people.
them.
And I like talking. So that's why I continued from, when we all went into this lockdown stuff, I was teaching classes, I was doing some teaching. And then all of a sudden, I found myself doing more personal training for some of my friends, and then online training. So in 2018, so it was before this, I had started a streaming platform called Web Workouts, which is back there. And what it is I took all my videos and I edited them down and put them in categories again. So it would be either buns, abs, arms, upper body, lower body, stretch, yoga, all these different categories, or 10-minute, 15-minute, 20-minute, 30-minute workouts. So it is a subscription, but you can cancel it anytime. But you go in there and you go, and if you want one of my old videos, they're on there. But every month I upload new workouts.
Nice.
So I usually upload 2 new workouts, healthy recipes. And then if you sign up for the premium, you get me every week and we get to do a workout together. And before we sit and chat like we are chatting, and I get to know them. And it's been so fabulous because I have this one woman, you guys, this is how dedicated she is. She is on there. So I do it every Thursdays at 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And a woman from Singapore is on there. I go, what time is it? She goes, it's 2. But she never puts her camera on. She goes, I'm not putting the camera on at 2 o'clock in the morning. And so, and then I have another woman
That's dedication
on there, and her name is Patricia Webb. I'm like, are we related?
Oh, right.
She's from Scotland, and it's 6 o'clock at night. So it's so good to come together and see and get to know the people that like working out with me.
Well, and
absolutely.
I think
this is a different time. I mean, for which we've evolved to where you can do that now. You can communicate with someone in Singapore and then again in Scotland. But thank you everyone for tuning in to If These Walls Could Talk with your hosts Wendy Stuart and Tym Moss, and our wonderful and special guest, the fabulous Tamilee Webb.
Tamilee, I think one of the things that's coming out from this conversation is it wasn't that you didn't have a global reach before, right? Because people could order your tapes from anywhere. But the ease of doing this online means your global reach. You can reach thousands and thousands of people. And that's really quite incredible when you think about it, you know? Like everyone knows who you are in the United States, but now you have access to the entire world and they have access to you, which is really a great thing.
Absolutely. Now we do have a video that we were going to show. What can you tell us a little bit about what we're going to be seeing?
Yeah. I'm like, well, okay, which video? I think it's the one where I'm talking about changing, you know, because we started with VHS, right?
Right.
So we went from VHS to DVD to digital.
Right.
And now to streaming.
Right. Yeah, so, I wanted to talk to you about all of those changes.
Right. Yeah. Tamilee did send a couple of videos. So I looked at all of them and then I forwarded the one that I thought would be the best for the show. So we'll see whatever it is. It's going to be great.
My apologies for putting you on the spot there.
No, I know. I was like, which video?
Hi, I'm Tamilee Webb, known for my Banza Still video series. And some of my favorite compliments were when people would say, you made it feel like you were my best friend working out with me in the living room. Or another one was, I learned so much about what I was working out that it inspired me to actually go into the industry of health and fitness. So when employees were surveyed and asked, what would be your favorite things? What are the top 3 things that you want in a wellness program? They said personal touch, easy access, and somebody that actually really knows what they're doing. And heck, employers love the fact that there's less sick days, there's less health insurance, and better productivity. Well, Web Workouts is the workouts that you can trust with a personal touch.
Cool.
Oh, I think that's wonderful. Webworkouts.com.
Right.
Yeah. So it's, and you can also, when you join, you can go up and schedule a private with me. I mean, it's very, I really care about my members and I want to be able to help them, not just, okay, you're a member and why are you looking, how can I better serve you? So every once in a while, I'll reach out to some that we just did a survey and you learn so much from these surveys and they'll write back little things. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to help this one. I'm like, okay, look, we're going to do a Zoom. I'm going to answer your questions and they're not a member. And whether they're a member or not, I'm going to take the time to help them because
it's very smart because then they may become a member. Certainly if someone personalized it for me. Now I'm a person that's been working out 4 times a week since they're in their late 20s. And my body is exactly the same, believe it or not, give or take a few things. But so I am a complete believer in exercise. However, I do notice with women past a certain age, you know, your metabolism will slow down. Yes, absolutely, Tim. By the way, Tim was teaching exercise during the pandemic. It wasn't like what you do. It was great. It was like disco workout with Tym Moss.
So fun.
Oh my God, he was so fun. But getting back to the point, I hear this from a lot of women. I'm going to put it out there. Back fat, saggy butt, you know, no matter how many sit-ups, you can do a gazillion sit-ups to nowhere. Same thing with push-ups, bingo arms, bingo, and you know everything. Those are bingo arms.
That's a good one.
With that being said, because you have really you've grown up in the exercise world, okay, and you've seen things and trends, you know, that have come about. how do you work with women that are over 50 attack the very things that I just brought up?
Yeah. Well, first, try and let them know that this is common for most people. And for women, when your hormones start changing,
Right.
so
Good
your
point.
body's not making the estrogen that it made when you were in your 20s and your 30s. So when that starts closing down, it's actually the fat cells that produce that estrogen. And the fat cells that they like to produce in is where we hold them the most. And that's usually around the midriff, around the hips, around the bottom.
Right.
Now, as we get older too, we tend to get more sedentary. And that's because we're not doing as much. And we have to, the worst thing you could be doing is just sitting the whole time. So for you, Wendy, you've made fitness a priority. It's a lifestyle for you. It's something that you continue to do throughout your life.
But I got to tell you, Tamilee, and this is why I'm asking you, because you are an expert. I literally have to work my ass off. And if let's say I go on location for a week, true. I can be careful about how I eat, but if I don't have that metabolism revved up, if I'm on a set or something, I will come back really 5 to 7 pounds heavier. The body can't wait to pack it on. During the pandemic, when my gym shut down, I tried walking. Running was disaster because my knees are shot from the years of doing step. Right.
Yeah.
You mentioned step earlier.
Yeah.
So you hear everyone talk about, the pandemic 10 or the pandemic 15, and many women of a certain age, then they can't lose it. What do we do?
Well, I am a huge fan of resistance training, weight training. So if you want to see your body change, you have to do resistance training because that's what trains your muscles. Your muscles will change your body. If you only diet alone, and I've seen this, we call it skinny fat. So your body stays the same, it just shrinks. So there's no change. You just got smaller. But when you really want to see, wow, I don't have that jiggle, or I've got a nice shape to my shoulder, I don't need those superficial deltoids. It's because you are working the muscle, and the muscle is the structure that helps hold it all together.
Absolutely.
And women tend to be not so much today, but very scary about having muscles. Oh, that's going to make me, have big muscles. No, it's not at all. And you've got to go in there and you've got to do resistance training. And then, of course, with the nutrition, we can't eat like we did in our 20s and our 30s.
Right.
And if your metabolism is slowing down, then you can't eat as much. But you got to boost your metabolism up by eating the right foods and by getting the right exercise. So I always tell people, look, if you have your choice of going out and walking, 5 miles or doing resistance training, do the resistance training. It's
interesting. Wow. So, okay. Yeah. I love what you're saying, by the way.
Yeah.
Because that resistance training seems to be the thing that you completely believe in.
Interesting.
Reasons given.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to If These Walls Could Talk with your hosts, Wendy Stuart and Tym Moss, our wonderful and fabulous guest, Tamilee Webb. Yay. Now, two things that I wanted to cover with you. One, I love the movie Clueless. And they mentioned Buns of Steel in there.
Yes.
At one point, because she goes, I've been doing Buns of Steel and my buns are nothing like steel. I love that line. That was fabulous.
That when I got called about having that clip in there, I'm like, oh my gosh, really? I was floored. And you guys, how things work around. So I was down in Cabo, and it was probably after maybe about 4 or 5 years after Clueless. And who is at the spa is Brittany.
Get out.
I know. And she was the nicest girl. And we talked. I'm like, yeah, I can get you some buns of steel. But she was so sweet. And that video just, it's still one of my favorites too, Tym.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Now, I am 61. I'm soon to be 62. So
Poor
my
baby.
body is not what it used to be, and it doesn't listen like it used to. And I can't do the things that I used to do. So just as far as like the evolution of life, you know, how, because I'm sure when you're trying to help someone who's 62, it's a different approach than with someone who's 32.
Yes.
Just simply because of metabolism in the
Yes,
body structure and all of that.
Yes.
Because again, I've got arthritis here and arthritis there, and I have to be careful and can't move. I'm not as mobile as I used to be. So
most of my youngest clients are in their mid 40s. My oldest client is 84.
How old is your oldest?
84.
Nice.
Yep. So obviously what I do with the 84 is we work on mobility, balance, okay, and strength, because we've got to strengthen his muscles to hold the frame, but we've got to have good balance things as well.
And that's an issue in your 80s. That can be a big issue in your 80s.
Yes. And so I do a lot of neuromuscular stuff, is getting the brain working first so that the body coordinates with the brain. So here are a couple things which we can do together. Okay. This is fun. Okay. So you're going to put your thumb and your finger up. So on one is your finger. Can you see that? Finger and thumb. Got it?
Right?
Oh, I think I'm up.
Yep. Point your finger at me, Wendy. Point your, and your thumb up. There you go. All right.
That's such coordination, Tamilee. That was hard.
Now switch.
Switch?
Oh, shoot.
Oh, okay.
Okay, see, you have to think about it, huh? Switch again.
Absolutely.
And switch. So Wendy, it's coming. And so you first had to wire and fire these brain cells that go, wait, I haven't done that. Okay, here's another one. This one's usually a little bit easier.
Well, I'm still stuck like this, Tim.
Okay, the other one is put your finger on your nose.
Okay.
Take your other hand, go underneath that hand and place it on your ear.
On my ear. Okay. Oh, wow.
Okay, ready? Switch.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
And switch.
Those are interesting.
I don't have this at all.
And switch.
That's a very interesting cognitive.
It's making you think, right?
It's like reprogramming. It is like Tim, we talk about that, reprogramming our brains and our patterns just in life, right? How you think. But that is what that is as well. You have to reprogram.
Yes. So I have to get this working with this. So we do a couple of those exercises. Another one for balance is if you take your fingers out and then you open them wide, don't move your head, but move your eyes left to right and trying to see your fingers. Don't move your head. No, Wendy, I see you're cheating.
I'm failing this, Tim.
Just your eyeballs to the side. Bring your hands back in. Now go diagonal.
Oh, okay.
Keep your head straight. Now look up and look down. Look up and look down. And bring it back in. And the other diagonal. Look up and look down. Look up and look down without moving your eyes, and back in. So that is a way to help with balance.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. It is. I can feel that.
Yeah. So back to your question, Tim, is one of the things that I will have all of my clients do, not just it doesn't matter their age, is I give them the 4 basics. So every day, whether you can get to your workout or not, you're going to do these 4 exercises. And you're going to be able to get them done within 2 to 5 minutes. It just depends on what level you're at. One is push-ups. Now, if you cannot do full-on push-ups with your body straight like a plank, then you can do it on your knees. Those are not called girl push-ups. Okay, they're called modification. And you can do them on your knees, or you can do them off of a counter. You can do them off of a wall. For my 84-year-old, he can do it off of the wall. Okay, so you have to do, if you can't quite do 10 push-ups, you're going to try and get to 10 push-ups. If you can easily do 10, you're going to try and do 15.
Right.
Okay. So push-ups is one of them. The second one is wall squat. So you sit up against a wall and squat like you're in a chair. That is isometric contraction for your glutes and your legs. And you're going to see if you can hold that for 30 seconds. If you can hold it 30, then try it for a minute. Okay. So that's number 2. The third one is ab work. And you can do that by doing a plank. You can either hold plank, you're pulling your abdominals in. You think about pulling your belly button back towards your spine, squeezing your butt muscles, pulling your kneecaps up to strengthen your quads. It's a full body contraction, and you're going to hold the same thing. Let's see if you can hold for a minute to 2 minutes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, okay. I'm doing all of that now.
And then the last one is for this again, and it's a tricep dip. So you're going to do 10 tricep dips. Yes.
Interesting.
So those are the 4 exercises that I don't care if they're going to get to the workout, they still have to do those 4.
It's funny because I do. Those are not the wall thing, because I have other things I do. The wall thing, by the way, most physical therapists, if you go in for any kind of knee or quad or whatever, that is one of the most common ones. It's doable for people, and it absolutely is a great exercise.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then the other one that I have clients do, they get a fabric band of mine, and it goes above their knees, and they have to do side steps. So it works their high glute. And by working the high glute, it just helps with your abs, your low back. It helps with everything, because your glutes, I know glutes really well, is that they're just kind of like, you think they're just stuck there. Like, here's these glutes. Well, they are your powerhouse with everything that you do, because you can't take a step forward without your glutes. You can't stand up and sit down without your glutes. So even sitting, like we're sitting right now, everybody, just squeeze your butt muscles, and you'll go up and down, right? Squeeze, 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 squeeze the right, squeeze the left, squeeze the right, squeeze the left. So next time you're on a train or a plane or in a car and you've got music on, for one song, I want you to squeeze your glutes like this with the beat of the music. With the beat of the music. And you can squeeze the right,
into it.
left, squeeze. And how long is a song usually? It's 3 to 4 minutes.
4 minutes, yeah.
Kid you not, if you will squeeze your butt for that long, you will start tightening up your butt muscles. There is nothing worse than a flat butt side, right?
Believe me, he's going to put on an LP so he can go longer.
That's right.
No, but thank you, Tamilee. You've made it sound accessible. You make it sound that's something everybody can do.
Yes.
That's
everybody
wonderful.
Can do it.
So I would be curious about your views on many people just get the fat sucked out. In other words, especially in the abdominal area. We know we can get the upper area good and tight, but it's the pot belly. Oh yes, station identification.
Well, firstly, we're out of time, so we'll talk if we can talk about that in the after the show. But please, firstly, tell everybody how they can find out more about Tamilee Webb and all of the wonderful, wonderful things and wonderful work that you're doing.
Yeah, you can reach out to me at Tamilee@WebbWorkouts, s@the end.com, or you can go to my website, TamileeWebb.com or WebbWorkouts.com, and you can reach out to me. I answer every email. So Tamilee@WebbWorkouts behind me.com. And right now,
Tamilee is Tamilee.
Yes, I know. And you know what? That's really not my real name.
I read that
because it's country music. I thought it sounded there. Tamilee. Here's
That's
Tamilee.
Perfect. It suits you.
But yeah, some people can't spell it. So Webb Workouts, 2 B's. And right now I have a 7-day trial. So you still have to put your credit card in, but if you don't want to continue at 7-day, you just cancel it and you're not charged. But you get to try it for seven days. And I will answer. If you have questions, you just send me an email and I will get back to you. That's how you get a hold of me.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Tamilee
you,
Webb.
Tamilee.
I have
You were
enjoyed this
great.
so very much. So
Oh,
thank you, everyone, for tuning
Thank
in.
you, everyone.
Yay. Okay, now that ends the 45-minute broadcast that will be done. Now
Okay, so I need to talk about the pot belly that a
Yes.
lot of women get later in life. So we're talking below the ab area, that that pot belly there. What do you think about people that get that all suctioned out?
okay. Good
Yeah,
question.
Mhm.
So I used to be married to a plastic surgeon.
Oh
I
my
know,
God.
I know a lot about that. Okay. Now I'm not opposed to any of that, whatever anybody wants to do. But I think what people don't know going into it is that there's pros and there's cons.
Yeah.
If you think that only sucking out the fat is going to be that it's going to fix it,
Right.
okay, you are born with so many fat cells.
Yeah.
Now, the only time you can add more fat cells as a woman is when you're going through puberty or in your last trimester of your pregnancy.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, the only way you can take out fat cells is sucking them out. Right. Now, a fat cell, if you look at a fat cell, let's say this is a fat cell. If you get a balloon and you blow it up, that's your fat cell. And so, when you blow up a balloon firm, it's really firm, right? Now you want to lose weight. Right? So we got to let that fat cell decrease because it's not going anywhere unless you're going to suck it out. So you let the air out, you're losing weight. And what does that
deflate those fat cells?
Right. So what does that balloon look like then?
Shriveled.
Yes.
Shrivelly.
Okay. So what happens, Wendy, is that the fat cell has a memory, just like the muscles and everything else in your body. And so you go, okay, I lost the 20 pounds. I feel great. And eventually I call it landscape. You go back to the old landscape habit, right? And the fat cells go, aha.
I remember this.
You're waiting to go back to their fullness, sometimes even more. Okay. So keep that in mind. 2, if you go in and go, well, I'm just going to suck that fat cell out. So now it doesn't have to go, Well, if you suck it out and you go back to that old landscape, what's going to happen? Your fat cells that are no longer there,
they're going to travel somewhere else.
Yes, they're going to go into another fat cell.
Oh my God.
So if you think, okay, I got it all sucked out here. Now, why do I have all this back fat?
Oh gosh.
Why are my arms chunky?
Right. And I have heard that with lipo. I have heard that from people that had their thighs. Tim, I love this conversation. Their thighs lipoed, then it appears in their belly. But okay, so here's one that you'll probably be able to answer. Cool Sculpt. It's a very hot thing. Everybody loves Cool Sculpt. I actually did have it done on my abdominal area, but I mostly had it done on my thighs, and it did slim them down a half an inch. However, literally a few months after that, kept diet, exercise, and everything the same, I noticed things starting to gravitate towards my middle. And I'm convinced that that's what happens with Cool Sculpt. I don't know if your other clients have told you that.
Yeah, my neighbor had it done, and she was doing, which I get, when people have kids and then
oh my God, yeah,
your body will change. So they go in and get a tummy tuck and a cool whatever, but it's the same thing. She said she would never have done it after she's done it. And that's where I think you really got to do your homework and talk to other people that have done it. And it's not that it's the same for everybody. It's just like going through menopause, not the same for everybody. It's just different. But though, if you keep going back to the old landscape, it has to go somewhere in your body.
Ugh.
It has to. Where else is it going to go?
Wow.
So, and then like with facelifts and things, some people don't, I can tell immediately when they've had too many because they're just puffy. They start looking the same. And trust me, I'm not against it. I'm like, okay, I could use some, jowl lift up. But you only really have 2 in your life. That's
really okay. Good to know.
2 is pretty much your max.
Right.
Because pretty soon, and you can tell sometimes they keep pulling up and pulling up.
Their eyebrows are up at their hairlines.
Yes.
You've seen it.
Yes. Yeah. So it was fascinating. I mean, it was
all of this is so fascinating to me. A part of the reason is longevity, right? We are all, although lately people have been dropping like flies, but until lately, you know, we are able to be productive and live like such full lives, you know, and a lot of it's got to do with diet, exercise, supplements, the balance of all of that. And that's a really cool thing, you know, to be, and you know this better than anyone, you encourage people to be the best they can possibly be.
And if they just make little changes at a time. So like I tell people that, if weight loss is a part of it, I'll say, okay, I don't want you to change anything other than here are the rules. Okay. This is your rule for 2 weeks. You can do anything for 2 weeks, right? Okay. The rule is you have to drink at least half your body weight in water, because water helps detox and helps you lose weight. Okay. So you've got to drink your water. Yes, you'll go to the bathroom. You visit the toilet a lot more. Drink your water. That's not so bad, right? Okay, I can do that. I can drink my water. And number 2,
right here.
There you go.
Always have it with me. Number 2 is you're not going to have any carbs after 4 p.m.
Interesting.
Yeah, Tim, I have heard that.
I will just do that for like the first couple weeks. But then I also want them to journal, because then I can take a look at something and go, okay, let's look at this together. Wow. What in this day do you think is sabotaging you? And then you also have to think it's not always about the food. It's this.
Yeah, it's why we eat.
It's a mental thing. It isn't about I'm going to exercise and eat right, because if you get triggered every single time and your trigger is I'm going to go to McDonald's, well, guess what? You got to fix the trigger.
Right.
I just had this with one of my online clients yesterday, and she has triggers, and her trigger is then to grab sweets. So I said, okay, so for this week, let's try a new trigger. You get to choose what's your new trigger. So you can't grab the sweets. What is it? So, and I remember my aunt telling me this when I was in college, and I would call her and I'd be like, Auntie, I've had such a bad, and she said, honey, you go out and you buy yourself something nice. Because elsewhere, if I'm down, I'm a sweet person. I love cookies and cakes and things like that. I'm not salty. I'm not junk food. I want the sweet stuff.
Good.
And so she said, don't go to that. Just go out and buy yourself something nice. And I realized that could be a little costly. However,
just a little.
However, it got me out of what I would have done to be doing something else that made me feel better. So even if it wasn't a whole outfit, if I just got something that made me feel better, then you're changing that old landscape. Because if I can change your landscape and get you deep into that new landscape, it takes you longer to go back to the old landscape. And that's why people do this up and down, up and down. Lost 20 pounds, back up 20 pounds, down 20 pounds, up 20 pounds.
Yeah, what I do, I live in Upper Manhattan, right by the George Washington Bridge. And so I walk up there and walk over the bridge and back, which is about 3 miles door to door. Yeah. And I rehearse. So I'm a singer. So I'm just walking along the bridge, just singing my heart out.
Love it.
And I can usually get 2, maybe 3 times a week in. Well, a couple weeks ago, I remember I had made a big batch of vegetable soup, like just all soup. Oh, it was so good and so hearty and all of that. And I made a batch of it so that I could eat on it for a few days. And that week I got 4 trips over the bridge and back.
Wow.
And ate all of this
really healthy soup.
And I stepped on the scale and I gained 3 pounds. And I'm just like, how the hell?
Okay, yeah, let's talk about let's talk about that.
Please.
Okay,
I went down the depression, the spiral. I'm like,
yes.
And then you went through a whole bag of cookies after that, didn't you?
No,
Okay.
we didn't,
So Tim, when you weighed yourself, when did you weigh yourself?
right after I got back. After I got back walking.
That's not when you weigh yourself.
Good.
You should weigh yourself first thing in the
First thing in the
morning
morning, yeah.
after you urinate. That's when you weigh yourself butt naked. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And do not weigh yourself like if you were out the night before and you had Chinese food.
Oh
anything
yeah. Woo, kiss it
do
down.
not jump on that scale. So I have my clients either they can have a choice of the scale, and if they do the weigh in the scale, it's a smart scale. Now, most anything that you're going to get is going to be a 3 to 5% error. So a smart scale, usually sometimes they're even 5%, but we're just trying to get a benchmark, right?
Right.
So, but the reason I asked for the smart scale is because in that smart scale, it's going to tell me, okay, if this is your total body weight, I'm just going to throw out 150. And then it shows that you've got 30% body fat. That's how much fat is in your body. And then it tells me how much muscle, because as your coach, I'm trying to get your muscle up and your fat down. Muscle up. I don't care about that number.
Right.
It can fluctuate.
You want more muscle than fat.
Yes. So then I had a client, she's still my client. And she's like, I'm losing, like my clothes are lighter, but the scale's not going down. And it had gone down 5 pounds, but I'm doing all this work. Shouldn't it be like 25?
Right.
Yeah, right.
And I said, let's take your measurements again. Well, when we took her measurements, she had already lost like 12 inches.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that way better than what the scale's telling you?
God,
Right.
You are dropping in your clothes and you're feeling better. Who cares what that scale says?
Right.
So then another one, if you get psyched out by a scale, am I going to have a good day or a bad day? Good day or bad day? Then I want you to only measure yourself by whatever your favorite jeans are or outfit or whatever it is. Can you put those on? Because it's inches, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So it is inches. I was listening to a podcast the other day because my boyfriend and I were talking about getting the aura ring. Do you guys?
Oh yeah, the rings that show your aura.
Oh, interesting.
No, they show your sleep patterns, and it's kind of anyway. So I was listening to a podcast, and it was the woman who's the editor of Women's Health magazine, and of course she tries all of these, right? And she brought it up, and I'm like, oh, great, because we're considering it. She said, here's the thing, it's great at first because you get to you're trying to figure it out, and she goes, but then you wake up and you're thinking, God, I feel great. I must have had a great sleep, and then you look at it, and it was terrible. And it ruined your day. That's what you did.
Right.
So you're thinking, I did all of this, and then I jumped on the scale, and it told me, what? You never want to weigh yourself after you have already exercised, after a meal with salt. For a woman, around menstrual anything, that's why scales. And if you felt better, Tim, who cares about that scale? Go with it. Keep on that track.
She is speaking the truth. Tamilee, if you can believe this, about 10 years ago, I stopped weighing myself.
Yeah.
I don't go near a scale, and I work with a top nutritionist, vitamin coach. I will not allow them to weigh me in the office either, and they know it.
Yeah. Because
everything that Tamilee is saying, Tim, is absolutely true. I feel good. My body's tight. My clothes fit a certain way. I do measure.
Yeah.
I'm also a fit model, so I measure. I always have to keep my measurements the same. But that's because she's right. I'd weigh myself, and after being super careful and working at it, all of that, 3 pounds heavier. So right. All it does is screw with your head, and a lot of what we're talking about here is behavior. It's behavior, right?
And when you go to the doctor's office, you know how they always jump to get you on the scale. I say, no, I'm not doing it. I'll tell you my weight. And if they insist, then I just turn around from the back end. But there's no reason for it.
Well, if they insist, you turn around and you tell them, I am Tamilee Webb. I don't believe in getting weighed. And believe me, they will back right down. Anyone I've gone to.
Look at these buns.
Right. I'm Tamilee Webb. Right. Tim, we have a lot of comments on here. Can we read some of those comments?
Sue's Genero from Massachusetts. She's a good friend of ours. Says hello to everyone. Stephanie, hello, hi. Lori Towers.
Oh, Lori, thanks to Lori, we're together.
Lori Towers.
Exactly.
Who is an amazingly fit, incredible body.
Yes. Lori says she's still a legend.
Oh, that's sweet.
Chauncey Dandridge, our producer, says it wasn't Chuck Norris.
He's crestfallen. I haven't seen Chauncey since.
He's with Total Gym, who is also a really good friend of mine. And what's interesting there is that Total Gym, Chuck Norris, and then Christy Brinkley. So when I moved down here, I got a job at the Golden Door. Do you know what the Golden Door is?
Of course, the spa that was world famous.
Yeah. So I was hired as fitness director. And my first week there, my first client, Christy Brinkley.
Oh my God.
Wow. She looks amazing. I see her every now and then at things in New York. Amazing.
Yeah. Robert Owen says, hi, Wendy, Tim, and Tamilee. And then we also put up your website, which is TamileeWebb.com, and that's TamileeWebb.
And I want to give a shout out to B. Claudia in Germany.
Yes,
she said, hello, all of you beautiful people. B. Claudia, if you're interested in anything that Tamilee can offer, you know where to find her. She's really working all over the world now, which is really great.
And Sue's Genero, our friend, she's a designer up in Massachusetts. She said, I used to wear one. I'm guessing the Aura ring.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
used to, right? Used to. You wear it for a while and then it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's because they're expensive. They're not, inexpensive, but.
Right, but if you're feeling good and that Aura ring tells you had a terrible sleep and you wait, it's so a lot of this is psychological. What we're
absolutely,
talking about,
yeah. And you should take that too with a grain of salt with people. So if somebody you're going along and somebody just rains on your parade, you got to go, oh no, just step aside. You're not raining on this parade.
Absolutely
not.
That's one of my theme songs.
Yeah, Tim sings that really great, by the way.
The hell out of that song. Oh, Tamilee, thank you so much.
This is so good.
Thank you guys for having me. This was, I think, one of my most fun little get-togethers. You guys are so good. You're great questions and you're lighthearted. So thank you so much for having me.
We want to be lighthearted and lightweighted.
Yes. Thank you, Lori, for making this happen.
Yes, Lori Towers, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, again, everyone go to TamileeWebb.com for everything Tamilee.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And don't sign off yet.
Okay.
And thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. This was really so fun and so informative, just the way we like it. We'll see you all next week.
Okay.
Bye.